So we have a lot of big changes coming for the upcoming season from the NFL league meeting. The two prominent ones, no doubt, is yesterday was the hip drop ban on that tackle, and then today was the kickoff. Those are the two prominent ones. A couple other ones was, I won't say smaller ones, but I mean definitely the prominent two are the kickoff and the hip drop tackle. All ones are the trade deadline got pushed back from week 8 to week 9, so it's one extra week in between. And the other one too is just a third challenge if one of your first two challenges is successful, which I like that one. I see a lot of people, listen on radio and stuff like that, kind of push back on that. To me, I think it's, I like the idea of getting a third challenge if you at least one of your first two is successful. I like that trade deadline, not the end of the world, just 1 week back. But the two prominent ones we want to talk about is again kickoff and hip drop tackle. Starting off with yesterday, the hip drop tackle, they banned it now. It will be classified as a unnecessary roughness, which of course is 15 yards and an automatic first down. My thoughts on that, I hate it. It's a horrible, horrible decision. It's once again punishing defenses for doing their job. It's making it more difficult for a defender to be able to tackle any skill position, quarterback, receiver, tight end, running back, whatever it may be. You can't go low because of, again, targeting. Worried about Achilles injuries, ACLs, and so forth. The worst case scenario also too, breaking someone's leg. So you can't go low, can't go high. Of course, with concussions, helmet to helmet. We've already seen this plenty of times the last few years with this. Now you can't tackle someone from behind really because it just at this point now it's most of these times for these hip drop tackles that they want to label them. To me, more than anything, I just look at it's a reaction based. At this point in time, whoever it may be, the running backs, tight ends, whoever, if they're getting behind the defenders, they're desperately trying to stop that set player from scoring or making a big play. And I kind of view this perfectly with college football with the targeting rule. The vast majority of the time, the players are getting kicked out for targeting. It's not targeting at all. It's players trying to make a play. It's defenders trying to make a stop on an offensive player. And the problem is, when they get thrown out, it gets labeled under they're purposely trying to hurt the player. It's not. Is there some cases where there are defenders purposely targeting quarterbacks or whoever it may be to injure them and kick them out of the game, knock them out of the game? Absolutely. For those players, they deserve to get ejected from the game. But the vast majority of them are just players that are just reacting on their instincts and trying to make a desperate play, especially depending on the situation it comes down to in the game. I view the same way as the hip drop tackle. Of course, one play that came out supporting the move was Kenyon Drake, where he got injured on this. I think he suffered a season-ending injury because of it. So he's happy, he's fine. He's okay with the hip drop tackle being banned. But for the most part, not surprising about defenders like J.J. Watt and so forth. I believe another one too was Ryan Clark as well. That came out as well. And another thing too, mostly and probably a good portion of fans as well. They don't like it. I'm part of that group as well. I don't like it. Again, it's punishing defenses for doing their job and making it more difficult. And we're slowly going to a Big 12 type of league where it's no defense and all scoring. Is it fun to watch like the 13 seconds game or the back in 2019 the 54-51 game against the Chiefs and Rams? It is, but every single game, I don't like that. There are games, you're going to have games like that where defenses just can't stop the quarterback. They're too hot. They're on the money. You can't do anything about that. Now, I'm also not advocating for the 2019 Super Bowl where it's 13-3 Patriots over the Rams. I'm not advocating for that, but I think you can get a nice happy medium, 24-17, 20-17 around there. That is still fun. It's decent scoring with defenses still making plays and stepping up as well. The problem is each time the NFL keeps trying to handicap defenders so there's more scoring. And I think there was a post, I think yesterday came out saying that the league is worried for offensive scoring especially this past season. If you look back in 2021, if I have the numbers right, and for the combined scores of both teams in the game, it was 49. Now it's dropped down to 43. Is it a coincidence that they're worried about that and they put this hip drop tackle in on top of player safety that they try and label it under, even though the NFLPA has came out and has pushed back on this idea of banning it? No, I don't see it this way. Again, they're trying to get the ratings up. They're trying to make it exciting, flashy. players like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Burrow, whoever you want to put out there. You can put the numbers up, high scoring, and we can have that. And again, is it fun? Absolutely, but not every single game. Let defenders make plays. You know why offenses struggle this year, aside from the obvious of decent amount of starting quarterbacks went out because of injury and you have backups? It's because defenses were able to adjust and stop high-powered offenses. So for the first time, really, when they're really able to slow down offenses and understand what their game plans were and what they want to do, we're immediately trying to favor the offenses. We're trying to rig it for offenses to be better, as opposed to just giving credit to where credit's due, with them, doing their job, stopping offenses, stopping points, pull them to 3 and outs, or whatever it may be. Once again, the NFL is rigging the game to suit the offense, protecting the quarterback, protecting the wide receiver, and so forth. It's annoying, and once again, this is just ruining the game even further. I wouldn't be surprised if after the 2024 season they decide to drastically change it, or I don't think they'll revert back to what it was previously and to completely take it out of the way. But I won't be surprised if there was serious changes to this ruling and how they officiate it after this upcoming season, because I think it will be big problems if they truly call it 100% the way they want to. So that's kind of my view on the hip drop tackle. The other one is the NFL kickoff. So to kind of break this down, thankfully a lot of people are kind of putting out there, and I did too, a video of the XFL, because this is exactly what the NFL is going to be implementing for the kickoff, is the XFL, what they have there. So essentially, kind of given the brief part of it, it's just kickers will continue kicking from the 35-yard line. Other 10 players line up at the receiving team's 40. The 10 kicking team players cannot move until the ball is caught or hits the ground in the landing zone or in the end zone. Up to 2 returners can line up on the landing zone between return team's 20-yard line and the goal line. So this is, again, it's going to be a little bit different, not the typical normal kickoff. I shouldn't say normal kickoff. It's different now. What it used to be, where the whole return team or special teams lined up with the kicker, they ran with them. Of course, we've seen that change that, where the remaining other players on said kicking off team have to wait until the kicker moves. Now we're moving to a completely different territory with this one now. So in terms of the kicking method, basically everyone besides the kicker is going to be on one side of the field. So like I said, the kicker is going to be in the usual 35-yard line, but everyone else is going to be on one side of the field. So another illustration as well is kind of looking at the diagram that they have on here. So the team that's kicking off, their players are going to be at the opponent's 40-yard line. The return team's players, aside from the 2 potential kick returners, they're going to be lined up at the 35, 30-yard line, it looks like. And then again, you have the landing zone, which is between the opponent's 20-yard line, or return team's 20-yard line, and the end or the edge of the red zone. And you're going to have 2 returners. And look, what they have right here is 1 on each sideline for this one. And if it does hit into the end zone, it is now 30. It will now be brought up to the 30-yard line, not the 25-yard line we've been used to for quite a while now. It's up to the 30-yard line, and of course, the typical, if you kick out of bounds, it's automatic to the 40-yard line. This is to help. What the NFL talked about is the problem with lack of returns, especially in the Super Bowl, which I guess was a problem, which I didn't even realize this as well. If I had this right, listen to the radio for the Super Bowl, that they really pointed out was out of the 13 kickoffs they had in the game, 12 of them were touchbacks. You kind of think about it, they were doing what the NFL wanted them to do. They changed this ruling how we were used to up until this upcoming season to reduce the head-on collisions. They're saying that especially the concussions and so forth, the injuries of running at full speed, colliding with each other. So they gave you an extra 5 yards as was before. Wow, go back 10 years ago, really, it was a touchback is 20 yards. Now they gave it more incentive to let it hit the end zone because it's an extra 5 yards. Now you're to the 25-yard line. It's decent position. they incentivize that from returners. They want it to be safer, and even this year they changed it to where you can do a fair catch even if you're inside. I think it was if you're inside the 20, you can fair catch it, and it's automatically to the 25-yard line. So they're already putting safety rules and precautions in to almost force you not to take a return. And then they did all this, and now want to complain that there's no returning in the game. This is what the NFL wanted. Again, it's just being hypocritical, and it kind of goes off to social media, just trends. What's the big thing going on? And at that point, yes, there's a big thing of player safety, this and that, until they realize this is boring. So we're basically reverting back to what we want originally is kickoff returns. But at the same time, too, at least offhand, I don't like the format. Maybe I have to watch a bit more. Luckily, we'll watch more for the UFL because I'm assuming they will have this as well in the UFL when that starts up in, I think, 5 days of this recording. So we get to see it, get a little bit more of a taste of what the kickoff return is going to look like in that perspective before it hits the NFL in August when we'll be able to see it. Actually, early August for the Hall of Fame game. But as right now, looking at it, I'm not a big fan of it. And this kind of just goes back to not liking it because it's different and, people not wanting change and so forth. But this isn't the game that I grew up loving and watching, the first year going all the way back to the early 2000s when I was first able to remember or comprehend what I was watching football. It's not the same game. The kickoffs, the rules for, for tackling and so forth, and all this, the penalties and so forth for the outrageous fines and everything. It's just, this is an entirely different game. And the problem is it's too much. I have no problem opposing, not saying I'm opposed for change at all, but stuff like this is just, I think it's too much. And I think the NFL is starting to see at the cost of player safety. And going back to quickly for the hip drop tackle, I won't be surprised if they revert back to what it is now, because of just it's putting too much safety precautions in. You're kind of seeing this with the kickoffs now. They put too much safety precautions in and incentivizing players not to take a return, and now they want to complain that no one's returned the ball. Well, they're just taking advantage of what you already put in place already. And again, it's kind of frustrating. Again, it's gonna be very different to see, especially for the kickoffs. And who knows, maybe it makes it more entertaining because you have a better chance of returning. The players are already right there, so maybe I don't know if there's a chance it will increase that probability of a long return or a kickoff return touchdown. I don't know, I don't have the data or the analytics to back that up if that's true or not. I don't know what of course the main thing they want to incentivize, and to really push for more is returning and not just touchbacks. And does obviously, it's more of a strategy thing where kickers have to land it perfectly in a 20-yard, box and not constantly kick it into the end zone. But I mean, again, at least for the problem too, I'm not big fans of it. It just, to me, it's kind of ruining the game. If I had to pick one or two, obviously I'd pick off the kick return. If I had to pick one rule to push forward, yes, absolutely, I would take the kickoff return. As much as I'm complaining about it, I'd much rather have that and not penalize defenses for doing what they're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, we're getting that, and it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely going to be a interesting 2024 season and how things are going to play out, especially on the defense side of the ball. But kick return, again, I just don't like it too much. It seemed, it seemed like yesterday too that they, also listening to the radio as well, that they weren't confident enough that this was going to pass yesterday. But definitely now, it definitely, they had the backing. You have to have at least 24 people to agree on it, and of course, obviously, they had more than well enough to pass both of them. But no doubt, just to me, my opinion, maybe for many others as well, bad decisions. And I do worry with, I believe if J.J. Watt did say this, of slowly going towards the flag football side of it. I mean, we're already seeing that in the Pro Bowl aspect of it, even though, to be fair, they didn't really try or, even make any attempt to put effort into the Pro Bowl in a normal game for that one. So flag football did seem, the obvious decision to go that way. But I just worry the NFL is slowly going towards that, because it's at some point in time you are going to drastically change the game, and it already has been. If you look at 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's vastly different in how they play the game, the rules, and everything. It's upsetting. Even if you want to go back to say 5 years ago, but even for that, it's just I definitely am worried about the direction NFL is going, especially for this upcoming season with the new rulings and future rulings, if that whatever it may be. That we don't even know ideas. We don't even know yet. That will probably be horrible the way the NFL owners and Roger Goodell come up with. But it's kind of my quick thoughts on the prominent two ones. Going back to the smaller ones, I said trade deadline, have no problem with being pushed back 1 week. Not the end of the world. Doesn't make a huge difference to me. Challenging, I love that. I love the idea that the team gets a third challenge if one of the two successful ones. And the other ones, I mean, I'll put in a different video with the streaming services with Peacock and Amazon. That'll be a separate thing with this one. But again, my quick thoughts on the new NFL rulings that came out yesterday and today.